Papaji was already 34 years old when he reached Chennai in 1944. He was excited and eager to see the Swami who would answer his burning questions and show him God. At Ramana Ashram, he left his baggage in the dormitory and went to the old hall where they said the Swami was seated. He peeped through the window and was totally disappointed and embittered by what he saw. He told himself, "The same sadhu who came to Punjab is seated here. He gave me his own name and address and is now seated on the sofa. He is a cheat. I will not stay here even for a minute." Such was his anger. Fuming and frustrated, Papaji ran back to the dormitory and picked up his baggage hurriedly in order to leave. However, an old devotee, Framji Dorabji, told him, "You have not stayed even for an hour. Why are you going back when you have come from such a distance?" Papaji narrated what he had seen and concluded, "This Swami is a cheat. He gave me his own name and address and said that he would show me God. I know he is a cheat. I know it." Framji said in a troubled voice, "There is some mistake here. Bhagavan has not left Arunachala for 48 years. Papaji continued to fume, but Framji Dorabji induced him to have lunch in the ashram and partake of Bhagavan's prasad. After having his lunch, Bhagavan used to retire to the old hall. People were told not to disturb the Maharshi between 12 and 2. Papaji attempted to follow the Maharshi, but Krishna Swami, the attendant, stopped him. Bhagavan, who was already in the hall, told Krishna Swami, "Allow him to come inside." Papaji recounts what happened next. "I approached the Swami in a belligerent manner. I asked him, 'Aren't you the man that came to see me in my house in the Punjab?' The Maharshi remained silent, and I repeated, 'Did you not come to my house and tell me to come here?' Again, the Maharshi made no answer. Since he was most unwilling to answer, I moved on to the main purpose of my visit. I asked him the questions that I had come to ask. Have you seen God? And if you have, can you help me see God? I am willing to pay any price for the answer, even give my life. But your part of the bargain is that you must show me God." And the Swami answered, "No, I cannot show you God. I cannot help you see God, because God is not an object that can be seen. God is the subject. He is the seer. Do not concern yourself with the objects that can be seen. Find out who is the seer. You alone are God." He then told me to find out more about this I that is so desirous of seeing God. After he concluded, he looked deep into my eyes in such a way that my entire body began to tremble. I felt a shiver running through every inch of my body, and my hair stood on end. Such was the intensity. Believe me, I became aware of the spiritual heart. What I am referring to is not the physical heart, but the heart that is the source and support of all that exists. This heart opened up and blossomed in the Maharshi's presence. I have never had such an extraordinary experience before. I had not come in looking for any kind of experience, so when it happened, it completely took me by surprise. However, even this experience did not convince Papaji for long. He still yearned to see God physically, despite this spiritual experience. In his own words, he said, "I did not want to be honey. I wanted to taste honey." So he left Ramana Ashramam and went to Tiruvannamalai on the other side of the hill. There he played with Lord Krishna till he had to go back to Chennai to join duty. Out of respect for an elderly man, he went to Ramana Ashramam to take leave. Now, look at the beauty of the relationship between master and disciple. When Papaji went before Bhagavan, he was asked, "Where have you been? Where have you been staying?" It was unusual for Bhagavan to ask such questions. And Papaji replied, "On the other side of the mountain." "And what were you doing there?" Bhagavan continued, "Well, I was playing with my God, Krishna," replied Papaji smugly. Papaji replied confidently in a proud and superior manner because he was convinced that the man he was talking to would never have had such an experience. And Bhagavan asked, "Is that so?" He seemed surprised and interested. "Very good. Do you see Krishna now?" "No, sir, I do not," replied Papaji. "I see him only when I have visions." Papaji was still feeling pleased with himself because he was certain that the Maharshi would never have had such visions. "So, Sri Krishna comes and plays with you and then disappears," observed the Maharshi. "What is the use of a God who appears and disappears? If he is a real God, he should be with you all the time." Even the profundity of this statement did not convince Papaji. He returned to Chennai and joined duty. He was still attracted to an external God and continued playing with his Krishna. After his return from work, he would sit all alone every day and chant the name of Krishna 25,000 times. And he began to increase this. Early in the morning one day, there was a knock on the door. Lord Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, and Hanuman appeared and gave him darshan. Afterwards, they disappeared. And he found that he could no longer concentrate on the japa that he used to do every day. In fact, he could not even read his usual religious books because his mind had become free of thoughts. And this puzzled him. Then a smiling Ramana Maharshi appeared in his puja room, and he remembered that this was exactly the state of quietude that he had experienced in the Maharshi's presence. He told himself, "I will go and ask what has happened to me. Everything has stopped. I cannot perform any of the religious practices that I was doing."